just got three things to say. God bless our troops, God bless America, and gentlemen, start your engine!
What is up, everybody? My name is Mitchell Brewer, and this is Encumbered, a Black Cat Sports production. And today we are talking about Sonoma and Mid-Ohio. NASCAR went road course racing again this weekend, and it was an alright weekend. It was nothing that I'm going to particularly ride home about, but it was alright. And yeah, let's start off with the Cup Series that was at Sonoma. And, entering the weekend, I kind of thought about it a little bit back when there was only two road courses on the schedule, where it was just Watkins Glen and Sonoma. And, yeah, Sonoma was always the one that was always almost kind of like the little brother living in the successful brother's shoes. You know what I mean? Where like Watkins Glen had all these crazy, wild, out of control races and finishes, where Sonoma was more of a mundane, you drink your wine, you kind of just sit back and enjoy the race. And not saying that's a bad thing, but that was definitely the type of show that we had for a majority of the race on Sunday, with, again, it being the Kyle Larson show. There was different strategies. People try to do different pit strategies, pitting before the stage, pitting during the stage. All different strategies. Didn't matter. Kyle Larson dominated, leading 57 of 92 laps. And again, it was a Hendrick Motorsports day because his teammate Chase Elliott finished second, marking the fourth straight week, which is bananas. Fourth straight week that the team has not only won, but has had a car finish 1, 2. That's almost as crazy as them finishing 1, 2, 3, 4 a couple of weeks ago at Dover. That's just, you don't hear about that often. You don't see a team having that much success on a very consistent basis, but that's exactly what this team has done. And it's been one of those things that's just incredible to watch, because usually you get like little hints that, like, I go back to Furniture Row. You got little hints that this team could be something, and then they made that move to Gibbs, won a championship, and they were just dominant. This one has kind of Chase Elliott won a championship last year, but what else do you remember about the Hendrick Motorsports season post-COVID? I know pre-COVID they were doing very well, but post-COVID, even Chase wasn't having a particular season to ride home about. He turned it on, and apparently the rest of the team just decided, he can't be the only one winning championships, especially Kyle Larson, who's just came back to the sport with a vengeance, and it has been very impressive to watch. And I'll admit, I was one of those guys that said, I think Kyle Larson's going to come back. I think he's going to probably make the playoffs, but I don't know how good he is going to actually be. And boy, was I wrong, because Kyle Larson looks like the guy to beat for the championship right now. I know he's not the points leader. I know Denny Hamlin, who has not won yet, which is still crazy when he has an over 70-point lead, hasn't won yet, but it just seems like if Kyle Larson keeps up at this pace, it's going to be tough to stop him. And man, imagine, I know we're in June. It's the beginning of June. We're not even halfway through the month yet. But just imagine he goes out after everything that happened and wins the championship. I know we're in June. I know I can hear you already, but man, think about it. That'd be one heck of a comeback story, if I do say so myself. And something that I had noticed about Kyle Larson, and was fortunate enough to ask him about after the race, was how this affects his charity efforts. Because I was scrolling on social media the other day, and I saw that Kyle Larson had raised over $64,000 just this year in charity, with a bunch of different partners that he was working with. And I can't remember off the top of my head. I think it was $5,000 for each top 10 that he had, and I believe $1 or $5 for each lap that he completed. And man, his goal was $500,000, and that was with the help of fans. I think he's gonna meet that by himself if he keeps up the season that he's having, because my goodness, he's definitely hitting those marks every single weekend. And yeah, let's hear what Kyle Larson had to say about his charity efforts. I saw on social media this week that you had raised $62,000 through your Drive for Five program. What does it mean to have a program like that going alongside your stellar season?
Yeah, it's cool, and it's with each lap completed and the wins and stuff, the money gets bigger. So it definitely, in the back of my mind, it adds a little bit more pressure to want to go out there and complete every lap and win these races. So cool that I'm able to raise that money and work together with some great organizations too through it. So definitely need to keep stacking that money up there. And we have a goal of getting to 500,000, but hopefully we can raise some more money throughout the year with run up front and doing good, but then also fans can donate as well.
Other notable occurrences that happened during the Sonoma Cup race, Ross Chastain had the weirdest situation come up. I'm still confused how this worked for him. There's a big crash late in the race, and if you watch closely in the replay, Ross Chastain just darts out, gets like, how there's that tight corner right before the checkered flag line at Sonoma. He just darts through the center of it, passes a bunch of cars, and gets back his position. And it's just like, wait a minute. And I know Brett Griffin who's a spotter for Colleague and is on the Door Bumper Clear podcast. He tweeted out, "Why is no one talking about this?" And sure enough, they started talking about it when they came back from commercial break. And NASCAR was like, "Oh, yeah, that's cool. He's fine." And it's just like, what? He drove through. He completely cut corners, sped up during a caution, and passed a bunch of cars, and it worked for him. And I'm not going to blame Ross Chastain because, I mean, if it works, it works. And you can't hate the play, you got to hate the game. But it worked for him. Him and Kurt Busch both, after a just disastrous Coke 600, came back. They finished 6th. Kurt Busch finished 6th, and Ross Chastain in 7th. Also bouncing back during Sunday's Cup race was Bubba Wallace. And I knew with one of the big stories heading into the day was the fact that Michael Jordan, the greatest basketball player of all time and co-owner of 23XI Racing, he was attending the race for the first time since Daytona. And I knew as soon as I saw him on Twitter, I'm like, man, if Bubba does not have a great day, his haters that are very loud on social media, you may have noticed that. You may be one of them, and more power to you. But I knew if he didn't have a great day, people were going to let him hear it. And to his credit, he was having a very, I won't say great day, but he was having a good day for 23XI. The days that they kind of need to build something. And he was running inside right around the 10th to 15th area from beginning of stage 1 through pretty much the opening 2 stages. But then he had a flat tire, and he got trapped a lap down, and he was 36 for the entire day. And that felt like one of those races that we just weren't going to get a caution, and he was going to finish 36 or 37 cars in front of Michael Jordan. And I already saw a bunch of tweets saying, "Oh, yep, this is Bubba. This is his average finish. He's terrible, blah, 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 blah." But man, credit to these guys, and I don't think it got enough credit on TV. They fought with it. They could have just given up and just stopped trying when they were stuck one lap down in 36, but they did not, and they got the breaks with the cautions, finally got back on lead lap, and it took a couple of cautions because I was kind of monitoring that situation a little bit, and somebody like a Cody Ware, somebody like I don't know who the other one was that got on a lap down, but had also gotten a lap down. So then they got the free pass, and it was just like, oh my goodness, I can't believe this. This is just unbelievable. They finally get all these cautions to fall their way. In that car, you can say that it helped that there was a little bit of attrition, but Bubba Wallace worked his tail off to get back inside the top 15, collect a 14th place finish. And I know people are expecting this team to win, which I still think isn't the right mindset to have. But top 15 day, especially after everything they went through, they deserve a lot of credit for that, and good for them. You can't take that away from them. That was that was a solid effort, and I think probably one of the biggest stories outside of just Kyle Larson dominating the day. Truck Series had the weekend off, but Xfinity and the ARCA Menard Series and ARCA Menard Series West were both in action on Friday. Ty Gibbs did what Ty Gibbs does best, and he dominated the ARCA Menard Series, winning his 4th straight race. We caught up with him following the race. Here's what he had to say. Ty, one of the first things I noticed that you mentioned in your TV interview was the fact that you're now the points leader in the ARCA standing.
I'm not. I'm wrong.
Oh, you're not?
1 point.
How important is that right now, looking at the points, even though we're still kind of in the middle part of the season?
Yeah, I feel like, you could even say we're almost in the beginning still. I feel like we got till October, so we got a long time, but 1 point behind. It's nice to reel them in slow and make them think about it. And, I feel like my guys just keep working hard at it, and we keep grinding away and keep, knocking away at this and keep getting good finishes. We'll be there in no time.
And how big has this year been for you? Now you have 4 ARCA wins in a row and Xfinity win in there as well. How big is that for you?
Yeah, it's really big. I feel like, I'm really thankful to be in this position to be able to drive race cars and do what I love. And, I really can't thank the man above enough. He's, put us here. That's why we're all here right now. It's because of him. And, I feel like we just keep knocking away with it and we can keep getting more. And, I really enjoy it and can do it with all the guys back at the race shop and with my, my people that help me week in, week out. They're like family to me. So it's been fun, man.
Is there anything that you think has led to all this success?
I feel like just when you work hard at something in life, I feel like I'm surrounded by really great people and really great things that, help me go faster. But, you still got to put the work in during the week. And I graduated high school, so I have nothing else to do besides race. And I put all my time to that. And, I focus and grind the way. So I feel like, working hard at it is, the biggest key and biggest key in life, doing anything.
Thank you, and best of luck tomorrow.
Thanks, Mitchell.
Impressive stuff from Ty Gibbs. I know everybody's like, oh, it's ARCA, whatever, but man, it's the same thing that goes with his Xfinity. Yeah, it's ARCA, but he's leading every single lap. He's not making mistakes that you would expect a guy in ARCA to make, that we saw Corey Heim make, that cost him a lot of points. I think right now that he's holding on to if Ty Gibbs is to be believed, it's a 1 point points advantage over Ty, and that's not going to stay for long if Ty Gibbs continues to dominate like he has. But yeah, it's just been incredible to watch. Gibbs was pretty impressive also in Saturday's Xfinity race. I didn't get to catch most of the race. I caught the beginning and I caught the end, but Ty again finishing strong inside the top 5 with AJ Allmendinger being the race winner. And I don't think it's a big surprise that race was going to come down to either Austin Cindric or AJ Allmendinger. And one of the bigger stories from the race on Saturday was the late spin for Cindric, who had, I believe it was a 10-second lead. I just tuned back into it. I was busy with other things on Saturday, and I just tuned back into it. And yeah, he had a 10-second lead, had this late caution, and yeah, it was. And the thing that took Cindric out, I've seen a lot of debate about whether was it dirty racing, was it just racing hard. I think it's the latter. I think that's road course racing, and it sucks for Cindric. You don't want to see a guy that dominated all day have his day and essentially mean nothing, although he had plenty of playoff points and stage wins and everything like that to minimize the damage. But yeah, it's not. I don't think it was a dirty move. I think Cindric. I get why he's mad, but I don't think it was dirty racing. I think that's just racing, especially in the Xfinity Series, where these guys want that win more than anything in the world. They want to go out and show that, hey, I can compete at the next level. That's just road course racing. I think you'll even see that in Cup sometimes, where these guys just get. You do see it in Cup, like those classical walk-ins Lynn finishes where they're just beating and banging, and sometimes somebody's gonna get spun out, and it just happened to be Austin Cindric. But congratulations to AJ Allmendinger, who collected the win on Saturday. Meanwhile, in Sonoma, the ARCA Menard Series West had their first standalone race of the season. I believe they raced earlier in the season with the National ARCA Menard Series and in Phoenix. This weekend, it was just the West Series. Chase Briscoe was the lone Cup driver in the field, along with some other notable names like Dylan Lupton, who finished second, and Zane Smith. I didn't catch any of this race, but of course, it was Chase Briscoe who went out there, and I believe he led every single lap and won the race, getting some valuable track experience. It looked like it was paying off for him on Sunday, because it looked like he was running inside the top 20 for a majority of the day. So I'm always intrigued. I think that's always one of the more interesting lower division ARCA-related races of the season, is that Sonoma race. And I think the National ARCA Series race at Watkins Glen is going to be equally as interesting. These ARCA races, especially Sonoma and Watkins Glen later on this year, I think those are going to be the interesting races to watch, because I think you're going to have these guys come in here and you're going to have some Cup guys. I would not be surprised if Chase Briscoe made his way to Watkins Glen in an ARCA ride as well. And I think it's very smart. You get the practice time, you get the benefit of qualifying, you get all this extra track time at racetracks that we haven't seen Cup guys at for the last. They weren't there in 2020. So I think you'll probably see. I think those are the races to keep an eye on in the ARCA Series. I know a lot of people will get disinterested because of the smaller field size, but I think the ARCA Series is worth checking out, especially those races. So yeah, so that was all of this weekend's action. Again, it wasn't the craziest weekend. It wasn't the Circuit of America's crazy by any means, but I think it was a solid weekend of racing. I was very interested to see Jeff Gluck's racing poll, because when I had checked on it, it was like 75% were saying yes, it was a good race, and 25% was no. And the thing that I had commented on Twitter was, man, it would be really interesting to see where. I apologize for that. I'm new at this podcasting stuff. Got to turn off your phone. Oh, goodness gracious. But yeah, I would have been intrigued to see if like a Martin Truex Jr. or a Kyle Busch, somebody that's not really a fan favorite, would have won that race. Would that have made a difference on the fan poll? Because I don't think it was like, I voted no. I didn't think it was pretty boring race until, at least from what we were seeing on TV. And I had said this previously to a couple of people that I wish they would have shown those battles like Bubba Wallace, like Ross Chastain, those guys in the middle of the pack that are working their butts off for a position. I wish they would have shown that a little bit more instead of just Kyle Larson dominating, where it's kind of the exact opposite from the Wednesday iRacing race, where they showed everything else but James Davison, who dominated that race. But what do you do? It's just the nature of the beast. So yeah, final points race for the NASCAR Cup Series on Fox for the season, as this weekend is the All-Star race. A little bit of Monday news for you. Ryan Preece, who usually drives the number 37 for JTT Daugherty Racing, he will not be entered. It makes a lot of sense. They aren't a charter team. Not really anything to gain from having them travel to Texas. And no offense to Ryan Preece, he's got a very large fan base, but I don't think he probably would have won the fan base going up against guys like Chase Briscoe, Matt DiBenedetto, and Bubba Wallace. So not surprised to see them not enter this weekend, but be interesting to see. I think he's going up and racing in the modified, so that'll be interesting. A little bit of tidbit of news that I wanted to catch up on from the weekend. Hailie Deegan, she's going to be running in two SRX series, Camping World SRX series races, and a lot of people had a reaction to that, and I just want to insert my opinion on it. I think it's a great move for SRX, and I saw a lot of people saying, oh, she's not a superstar. What do you mean? She's one of the most followed drivers on social media. Is the exact perfect person you're going to bring in to a new series. You can't just make a series, and I think this is brilliant with Tony Stewart, especially since he's bringing in some guys that aren't like big IndyCar names or big NASCAR names. There's going to be some independent guys in here that have made their name somewhere else. Then you have somebody like Hailie Deegan. You're bringing different audiences in, which is exactly what they need to do with this series if they want to take it seriously. I know a big concern from a lot of people, including myself, was that this is kind of just the old man series. No offense to him. It's going to be fun. I'm very excited to watch it, but like, what's the plan when all these guys get sick of racing in maybe a year, maybe 5? Like, You can't just keep milking the cow for these retired drivers that aren't in these top series anymore. I think you do need to have some of that development talent. And it was kind of surprising to me when they were reaching out to, like, I believe it was like Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, Kyle Busch, all these guys who are not going to be affiliated with this series whatsoever. And you can make whatever conspiracy you want with that. It's just interesting. And I think having Deegan in there is a very good move for this racing series. And I'm intrigued to see how she does. I think it'll be interesting to see her against very stiff competition with like guys like Helio Castroneves, who just won the Daytona. Goodness gracious. Can you tell it's 7 o'clock on a Monday evening? Goodness, oh my word. The Indy 500, duh, obviously. But yeah, I'm curious to get your guys' opinion on that and your opinion on everything that had happened this weekend. Whether you thought the Sonoma race was amazing, great. Whether you thought Austin Cindric, it was a dirty move that he got dumped into the grass, or that's racing. Ty Gibbs, what are your thoughts on him dominating the ARCA series? I'd love to hear it. Be sure to leave a like and a comment down below. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to listen to us on Spotify if you don't want to have to deal with looking at my mug on YouTube all day long. And yeah, thank you for supporting the channel, and thank you for following along. Be sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Black Hat Sports, and TikTok as well. And yeah, hope you have a great rest of your day, and hopefully I'll see you again soon. I'm planning on making these videos more on a daily basis than just a weekly basis, but we're still figuring out all the quirks and the kinks of all of this and trying to figure out what works best. So thank you for bearing with me. I hope you're enjoying the ride. I've been Mitchell Brewer. I hope you have a great rest of your day.